Hello and welcome back. This is Candace from Candoodle, and I'm so excited and thankful to have you here today. Today's video is part of a super special hop that I have spent the last couple of months organizing behind the scenes, and it is for something that is very near and dear to my heart, which is eating disorders awareness. So I'm so thankful to the over 30 crafters and companies who have come together to help make this little dream of mine into a reality. And so I really hope that you enjoy today's video as I share a big piece of my heart and soul with you. So today's video is going to be a little bit different in that I usually talk about my card and tell you what I'm doing, but today I'm actually going to focus more on the topic of today's hop because I think it's something that's really important and doesn't get enough attention. So, eating disorders are complex mental illnesses with physical manifestations, and unfortunately, there tends to be a lot of myths and misconceptions surrounding these illnesses, which often serves to perpetuate the stigma that prevents so many people from getting the life-saving support and treatment that they may need. So, today we're hopping along to raise awareness and hope for these very underserved but prevalent disorders. Eating disorders affect about 1 to 3% of the population, and they actually have the second highest mortality rate of all mental illnesses, only second to opioid addiction. And these disorders don't discriminate. They affect people of all ages, genders, ethnicities, body shapes and types, sexual orientations, socioeconomic status, you name it. And while we typically see anorexia and bulimia as the ones presented in the media depictions of eating disorders, there's actually 8 different types of eating disorders, and you don't have to be underweight to have an eating disorder. And the reality is that the majority of folks who are struggling with these issues aren't underweight. And while they can be treated successfully, only about 1 in 10 people with an eating disorder actually receives treatment. And so the reason that this is so near and dear to my heart is because I have struggled with anorexia for the better part of a decade, and it's actually the reason that I found card making and crafting at a time when everything else was unfortunately taken away from me for my own well-being. And had it not been for the support of my amazing family and the treatment that I was lucky enough to receive, I don't even know if I would be here today to tell this story or organize this hop. And since then, I've dedicated much of my life and career to helping others struggling with these same sorts of issues. I volunteer in outreach and education at the National Eating Disorder Information Center, and I have been for quite a few years. And I also work on our toll-free helpline that supports folks with eating disorders from across the country. I also just finished my Master's of Public Health, and my research area was in eating disorders, and I've published several papers over the last year, specifically around treatment outcomes and things like that. So I'm hoping to continue this passion and continue my education in order to be able to provide patient care one day. And so I could talk about eating disorders and so many things around this topic for hours. I've literally given lectures and presentations, but I thought what would be really meaningful today is to share with you some tips to prevent eating disorders and food and weight preoccupation in your life, whether that be in your loved ones and the people you interact with and anyone that you come in contact with. So I have 4 quick tips to help prevent eating disorders. So the first is not to dichotomize or moralize food. And so what that means is not separating food into good food and bad food, because there's no such thing. What we like to say at NEDIC is that there's fun food and fuel food. So fuel food has the nutrients we need to survive and to thrive and flourish, but fun food adds enjoyment to our life, and that's really important too for our mental health. The second tip is to avoid fat talk. A lot of people don't even know what fat talk is, but it's anything that normalizes that thin ideal that we should all quote unquote be aspiring to, when that simply isn't the case. Bodies come in all different shapes and sizes, and that's part of what makes us human. So fat talk might be something like, "You look great, have you lost weight?" Or, "I'm going to need to run home from the restaurant after eating all of this food." And these are just ideas that can really reinforce that thin ideal internalization and can have an especial impact on young people. So that's something that we should try and be avoiding where we can. The third tip is to not comment on bodies. I know that this can be hard. We live in a society that is very image driven and things like that, but this is actually something that can be really harmful. So what I tend to say is try and focus on abilities and traits rather than looks and weights. So instead of complimenting somebody and saying, "Oh, you look great," or "Oh, have you lost weight? You look amazing," focus on their internal attributes. their kindness, their humor, how good they are at card making, that they support their family, because there's so much more to us than what we look like. Our bodies are really just a vessel that we go through life in, and it's really about what's on the inside that matters. Another thing, many folks, well meaning, will comment on somebody's weight loss, perhaps trying to compliment them if they're on a bit of a health journey. And this can actually reinforce disordered eating patterns that the person might be using to obtain their results. We really don't know what's going on behind closed doors, and it can actually be kind of harmful to comment on somebody's weight loss. The same goes for when you're commenting on somebody's weight loss out of concern. Maybe you think they might be struggling with an eating disorder or something like that, and you go to them because you're concerned about the amount of weight that they've lost. This is something that can actually be quite triggering for folks who might be struggling and can actually reinforce the eating disorder. Eating disorders can be very deceptive in how they work within the mind, and the person can actually interpret you coming to them about their weight loss and being concerned as a good thing, in that they're doing good at their eating disorder. I know that sounds really backwards, but as somebody who's experienced that sort of thing, please know that that is sometimes how the mind can go in these situations. Another thing, many folks say this very well meaning when somebody is in recovery from an eating disorder and they see them and perhaps they have been engaging in the recovery process and maybe gaining some weight. Many folks might say, "Oh, you look so much healthier." And while they are very well meaning in their intentions when they say this, it can make the person who might be suffering feel that they look fatter. And I know that that's really unfortunate, but that is a very touchy issue in recovery. So what we try to tell folks is that focus on things like you look so much happier, or I can really see your personality shining through, and things like that. It's just something that it really brings the focus back to who they are as a person more than what their body looks like. And the fourth tip I have is know the resources. So there are so many organizations that focus on helping folks deal with these sorts of issues and find support and treatment in their communities. There's NEDIC in Canada, NIDA in the US, BEAT in the United Kingdom, and the Butterfly Foundation in Australia. And of course, I will have all of these linked in my description below. I hope that you found some of this information informative and helpful, or at the very least, it's made you think about how you talk about food and bodies and things like that. Please know that if you are concerned about yourself or somebody else experiencing an eating disorder or food and weight preoccupation, there are so many individuals and organizations who are there to support you and happy to help. So that is a little Eating Disorders 101, and I'm so thankful to have you here today and to have shared this message. Even if it resonates with one person, that's so meaningful to me. So I also want to talk a bit about the giveaways that we have for this hop, which I'm sure folks are excited about. So there are two prizes which I have bought. One is a package of stamps, dies, and goodies, a few of my favorite things. And the second is a Doodlebug mystery bag, which is worth $115 in retail value. We've also had some amazing sponsors who are so generous to sponsor this hop. The first is Gina K Designs, which is giving 4 $50 gift cards to her shop, as well as one gift card worth $50 to Concord and Ninth, one $50 gift card to Sassy and Crafty, a $25 gift card to 3 Room Studio, $25 to Ink on 3, and $10 to Doodles Paper Playground Sparkle Blends shop. So I'm so excited and so thankful to these companies for sponsoring this hop. Please give them a follow and check them out and support them. All you have to do to be entered in the giveaway is subscribe to my channel and leave a comment down below. Each additional comment you make on Folks Along the Hop will be an extra entry into the giveaway. And I'm going to pool these together with Instagram as well, and then draw winners on February 13th. So if you want more chances to win, head over to my Instagram, which will be linked down below as well, and make sure that you're following me and like the post and leave a comment there. So on February 13th, I'm going to pull together all of the entries and announce the winners here on YouTube and over on Instagram. And last but certainly not least, I have to thank the 21 amazing and incredibly talented crafters who have come together to help make this YouTube hop dream come to life. I'm so thankful to each and every single one of them for participating. There are 22 videos in total, including mine. All of them are linked below, and they all link to each other so you can follow along the hop. And perhaps one of the biggest dreams come true for me, and something that made me feel like this was all really coming full circle, was that Amanda from the Little Crafty Pill agreed to be part of this hop. And that's so special to me because I actually found card making through her channel 3 years ago when she posted a video called Basic Supplies for Card Making and My Story with an Eating Disorder. Amanda has always been an inspiration for me, and reading her story, there were so many parallels with my own, and it really inspired me to get into card making. And the rest is history. So here we are 3 years later, and she is participating in my hop. So I just thought that that was so, so special. So thank you so, so much for being here today. I seriously can't put into words how much I truly appreciate it and how much it means to me. I really hope that this story resonates with at least one person out there, or at the very least, you've learned something new. I'm super open and happy to answer any questions you may have down below. You can always reach me over on Instagram at Candoodle Creations as well. My DMs are always open, and I'm happy to have a conversation around these sorts of things if that's something that you feel called to. Thank you once again for being here today, and don't forget to check out the description for all the stops in the hop as well as the full giveaway details. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!